which team looked and sounded like they are in the best mental place to win this game?
Both teams look wonderful.
Really?
First of all, the white sweats. I thought Diddy made the outfit for everybody. It's like the
all white party.
Was blowing. It was all white party.
Except for Kyle Shanahan. He comes out in all sort of black.
But that's who he is. But that's his persona. I like it. But did you see Andy Reid?
Yeah,
when he
he's got the big flower.
I thought he was on the beach. Somebody's uncle on the beach.
He was in his element.
Let me tell you something. These guys are polished. They're seasoned. They're well coached. They're well taught. They're not going to really give you nothing to build on. Both quarterbacks were phenomenal, very professional. And you weigh both teams, it's equality. I can't lean either way at this point. Both teams are really poised, and they really are focused. That's what I garnished from last night.
I agree. It came off beautifully. As usual, you were sometimes better than the guy you were interviewing with your questions. But there was one fascinating exchange that caught my eye and ear with your man, Richard Sherman. You have been a mentor to him, sort of a guiding light to him. And you jumped in and said, man, I called you, but I was too late.
Yeah.
Could you explain? Because obviously last week, Richard went at it with Darrelle Revis again via Twitter. But you had called Richard to say, don't do it. Leave it alone this time, right?
Let's preface it. Darrelle Revis went at Richard.
He started it, yes.
And I don't know why. I love both of them. Revis, God, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer. He's a dog. He's a baller's baller. He's a corner's corner. It's no reason to shoot at Richard.
Right.
Richard, man, his game is patterned a little different than ours were. But to his rightfulness, he's a dog. He's a bona fide baller, and he's done it over with longevity. So I said, look, man, don't go back and forth. This is your moment. This is your light.
Right.
Let it shine. And he just couldn't help himself. He had to shoot back, and he shot. And he shot back.
Just for the record, the big picture record, Richard actually did start this all the way back in 2012. It's old news now, but I get where you were going.
Bring it to me. Bring me back up to speed. I'm not aware of that.
Richard started to attack Darrelle back in 2012, saying when he was hurt.
Remember he tore his ACL.
Yeah, remember he was out. And Richard said, when you return to the field, you will be irrelevant. So they were going back and forth that way. Remember when Richard was going after Tom Brady and a lot of the receivers? He went after everybody. He sort of talked his way into a household name in 2012.
Well, he had the ball, too, now.
He was starting to.
You got to walk it like you talk it.
You do.
Yeah, right.
I agree with you. But put in perspective, how do you view Richard as a strictly zone corner when obviously you were the greatest ever at traveling?
Yeah, I don't view him as a strictly zone corner. I view him as a corner who played very well in what he was asked to do. You got another dog on the other side in Seattle for a myriad of years. They didn't flip. They didn't flop. That secondary was bona fide, one of the best to ever be assembled.
Right.
So I don't view him as that. I view him as a guy who did exactly what they asked him to do and then did more than that.
Okay.
And that's what it's hard for people to understand when they see Revis travel.
Right.
You travel. Sherm didn't travel. But it's like, well, Sherm's not traveling, therefore he can't be as good. But he was great at what he was asked to do.
But Sherm is not traveling because he doesn't want to.
Correct.
He's not saying, hey, man, Coach, I'm not doing that. He's not doing that.
Right.
That's the difference. I've seen some guys, and I ain't doing that. I'm not going on the other side. I know some guys in this game will not travel.
Or go in the slot.
Exactly.
Nobody really...
I want to go in the slot.
Okay.
I'm going in there.
The slot's a different animal.
Could Richard have traveled, especially earlier in his career, and been as... No, he's not Deion, because there's never been another Deion.
And it won't be.
Okay, thank you. There we go.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Deion, if we could take you back a few years to the height of your playing days, and you face this team, would you take Tyreek? Again, sometimes he's going to line up in the slot, but would you take him everywhere?
I want their dog.
Okay.
I would want their dog.
All right.
But I got to do it in the understanding of the defense, what we're trying to accomplish. It does us no good to have a personal vendetta and personal battle, and I win, but the rest of the team is losing. It don't make sense.
Right.
So if they could just single me out, put me on Tyreek, and then you got one-on-one backside with Sammy. They have 3 ones, man.
Right.
These guys have 3 ones on this.
And then what you can do with Travis Kelce?
I watched them practice this Friday in Kansas City, and let me tell you something, man. You know, as an analyst, as a football guy, you try not to fall in love with the last woman that you were just with. You know. Let me keep this on television.
Yeah, we get
I'm sorry,
it.
my mind just, you know. But you have a tendency and a propensity to just adore that team. And it was so easy. When you see Mahomes throwing the ball 50, 60 yards and sprinting down the field to greet him in the end zone, even at practice, it was unbelievable. These guys are really good. They play at their speed, they practice professionalism, they practice. I mean, that ball is coming out, the ball is not touching the ground. It's a quick pace. These guys are going to get it. I loved it. Boy, I cannot wait to see how San Francisco is poised to stop this offense.
What are you going to do against Tyreek?
Poison.
You going to bump Tyreek?
No, man. I'm going to make them do something they don't want to do in this run the football. I got to make them run I'm going double-double. I'm doubling Tyreek, and I'm doubling Kelsey, and everybody else, you better hunt. You man-to-man.
Okay, but if you're Deion Sanders, you don't need to double Tyreek, right?
No, but it ain't but one prime.
Okay, all right.
I'm here. So
By the way, at your peak, were you faster than Tyreek?
You can't say clock. We got to stop thinking about the clock. We talking about the field.
Yes.
It's a lot of fast guys, but they don't do it on the field.
They don't play fast.
They don't play fast, and it ain't like that. Going to get the ball, that was going to be a party. Like, it was no one faster than Jerry Rice going to get the ball, and Jerry ran a 4.6 on clock. But on man, he was about a 4.1 on man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on clock, you were 4.2.
For breakfast.
Last week, you made a powerful comment. The Hall of Famer across from me and I discussed it here on Undisputed, and he found himself in a tricky spot because he's obviously in the Hall of Fame.
Together.
Yes, together. There you go. But it was about Eli Manning's Hall of Fame credentials.
Wow.
And your quote was, "I'm not so sure what being a Hall of Famer means anymore." And you went on to say, "You're supposed to change the position you played to become a Hall of Famer." I am 1,000% with you. My golden rule is, if I have to think twice about you, you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Is he a Hall of Famer? Well, he's out. Deion, yes, Deion was a Hall of Famer. He was a zero-ballot Hall of Famer, not first. He's just in the Hall of Fame. So you were conflicted about Eli because he was a 500 quarterback who led the league in interceptions 3 times. Last 8 years he started, they make the playoffs 1 time. He had 2 magical Super Bowl runs. We know that, and he beat Tom Brady twice. So expand, if you would, to Shannon here about your convictions about this.
What is a Hall of Fame? Like, when we grew up, Hall of Famer was somebody who changed the darn game, that you wanted to go purchase a ticket to go see them play individually. They were special. They was set aside. You wanted to see them practice, not only play. You couldn't wait to see them amongst town and say, "Oh, man, there goes Shannon Sharpe right there. Oh, my God, I can't wait to see him play." It ain't like that no more.
No.
It's Tom, Dick, and Harry and Larry getting in the Hall of Fame now, man. And I hate to be that guy to sit up there and say, I don't know about that. It's some guys that the game has changed. Even the Pro Bowl has changed. Back in the day, man, making a Pro Bowl was something to behold. And then when we went to practice, we went at it. Like, hey, you ain't going to catch no ball on me over here, because you catch the ball over me over here, you're going to think you can do it over there. So I'm not going to even let you do it over here. It's different. Now they playing flag. They have no passion for this thing. And we've taken that to the Hall of Fame. Just because we get, how many get in every year? Well, they letting everybody and their mama in right now this year.
30. They let 30 in, not 20. I think 20.
20. However many we get in. Like, if we say, for instance, we have 10. You don't have to pick 10 just because they're telling you 10. If it ain't 10 dogs out there, don't pick a cat. And that's what they're doing.
Beautiful.
And it upsets me right now, because some of these guys ain't changed the game. It's supposed to be game changers.
You and I had a lot of conversation, and I used to weigh in an awful lot about players. This guy's better than that guy. And you pull me to the side. He says, like, when you do that, you know when you say this, your word holds extra credibility.
It does.
So they're going to take it personal. For me, being in the Hall of Fame, Skip, when people ask me what should he or should he not be, they don't just say Shannon Sharpe. They said Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe says he doesn't think. So now this guy think, his family, his friends think, well, Shannon says he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I got to vote. All I'm saying is that I thought if you had to be an all-decade player, you had to be a player that the game that when you talk about, like, okay, there's no doubt. Mm-hmm. In the 90s, how do you talk about the position without talking about me?
Right.
I was the guy.
You're right.
But
That's
now it's like, well, he played a long time. Well, he had 200 straight starts. Okay. If I collect cans every day for 20 years, I'm going to have a bunch of cans, but I ain't got a whole lot. But that seems to be where their head is skipping. I hate to say it. And it's like, I don't really talk a whole lot about it, but I do believe my brother is worthy of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
All your brothers should have been. See, y'all clapping because it's a great statement. I'm clapping because I played against him. And his brother was a dog. First of all, if you bump him, he gonna manhandle you and beat you down. And you back off, if he catch it and face you up, you got some problems. So his brother was a dog that you did not want to deal with. And how in the world is he not? And you got some busters in the Hall of Fame, and he ain't? I don't understand. And when it comes to Eli, I love me some Eli. Eli should get in the way it's going right now. Yep. Okay, let's just put that clear. I love me some Eli Manning. I really do. In the way it's going right now, yeah, you darn skippy he's supposed to get in.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.